Hi there, I hope this finds you well. This is going to be a reading in honor of the new moon in Taurus on Saturday, May 16th around 1 p.m. I went ahead and set my intentions that this be in the highest good of any and all that tune in. I hope there's something helpful for you here. And I've already meditated. And for each of these three cards, the position is going to be, what do we need to integrate at the new moon? What's the helpful message? And the last card will be, what do we need to know between now and the next full moon, which will actually be a blue moon on May 31st. So this reading is between now and then, and hopefully you find something helpful. With all these shifting energies. So I also pulled a card from my Into the Lonely Woods tarot deck by Dan May, and I just really like that image. I actually pulled that first and then I threw it back in and shuffled. It kept wanting to come out, so I figured it could just sit there while I talk a little bit. The astrology for the new moon is interesting because while the sun and moon are in Taurus, and Taurus is known as a yin energy, it's to slow down, it's associated with the earth, the senses, gardening, how can we sustain, what are the resources. It's a very grounded sign. However, the current energy right now is very ungrounded for more reasons than just pointing to the sky. But recently, Uranus, the outer planet that's known for liberation, sudden unexpected changes, has just switched into the sign of Gemini. And that's a completely new energy because it's been in Taurus, the preceding sign, since 2018. So even though Uranus is ruled by Aquarius and it's an air sign, so and now it's moved into Gemini, which is also an air sign. So lots of energy swirling around, but also easy to be ungrounded. Also maybe easier for ideas to take new flight and have new innovations and insights. But we have the planet of long-term memory now in the sign of technology and the immediate future, both air signs. So there's just an incredible amount of air. I found myself personally needing to get in water as much as possible to counterbalance that. So there's all this, in yoga and Ayurveda, it would be Vata. We're kind of like, it's just a ton of Vata energy. So the new moon in Taurus, while you may hear like a lot of anyone that does divination say it's all about slowing down, I'm going to say it's more about how do we integrate all of this fast moving change. And luckily Mercury, so the moon and sun are going to be at 26 degrees of the sign Taurus. Mercury is sandwiched right in between Uranus freshly in Gemini at 28 degrees of Taurus. So Mercury rules Gemini, and because it's in such close proximity to this new moon, Mercury is known to go between all three realms and enhance communication, and because it rules the sign of Gemini, hopefully it can help translate and integrate at this new beginning of the new moon, what we're planting and seeding as we move forward. So hopefully it can be an opportunity for integrating, grounding, rest, and inquiring about what comes next in a way where you can like sink your toes into some soil. And then, as I mentioned, this card that you're seeing, this creature looks very Taurian to me, and he's holding a little lantern with a firefly inside, and the message is don't hide your light. The world needs your light. So that message wanted to come through, especially for this. And so the message of the new moon, while it's the dark of the moon, and there is no light coming from the moon, it's also a better time to see the stars if you have access to visible stars. And go into your own inner light and rest and integrate. New moons, well, a lot of people say, oh, it's time to plant your seeds and manifest. I also think it's a time of rest. You know how a lot of people say they can't sleep because of the light of the full moon so bright. So I like to look at it as an opportunity to rest if possible, to integrate if possible. And having said that, the first card is what do we need to integrate? It's this new moon. And it is compassion. With the archetype of the deer. If either of those speak to you. Now, in the image, it's a deer skull, almost with like tinsel hanging down from the antlers, and this really pretty blue cloud color. So kind of a calm energy. This could be compassion for others. This could be compassion for yourself, for where you are right now or what's led you to here. But the deer is a symbol of compassion and gentleness, even towards those who have harmed us. They are a reminder that all humans that are wounded can unconsciously project their pain onto others. So when our anger and resentment becomes stuck and is holding us back, call upon deer to work on cultivating compassion for those who are limited and in pain. This does not mean work on compassion and forgiveness before you have thoroughly processed the hurt, as that's imperative. And this also doesn't mean you have to have compassion for every person who has hurt you. There's always exceptions, and it's always a choice you must continue to make. But now more than ever, we need to expand our ability to be compassionate towards self and other. And then the question you could ask yourself is, how can you be more compassionate in your current life? And where have you built walls that do not serve you? And you could meditate on that. Or just take the first answer that comes to you as I say it. Sometimes compassion is more of an inside-out job than an outside-in job. And by that I mean when you do your own inner work and you realize the nuances of human complexity, and as you heal your own wounds, you realize the wounds other people carry, and then it becomes easier to have compassion and see the interconnectedness of everyone, and that we're not as separate as we can sometimes think we are. Now that's experiential, right? So I'm not just saying apply a band-aid of compassion. Like I'm not saying be spiritual to be spiritual, or if someone's acting harmful, to just look the other way and have compassion. I'm more speaking about it from a deep, like how can we keep centered in our hearts and bodies and remember that we all share this earth, and be gentle with one another, because we've all been wounded. And at the time of this new moon, how can that be integrated? And maybe there's something for you that's arising to the surface that has nothing to do with my words. I mean, trust your own feelings or guts around the situation. I was actually surprised to get this card, but I always feel like it's a good omen to see. I love when the dear ally comes through. So you might also want to meditate more on the spirit of the deer. And then this deck is called the Lumen Edition Threads of Fate Oracle. And it also prescribes like a plant and a stone. So the bleeding heart is a powerful pain reliever and can also assist those who are experiencing the after effects of trauma. So that is the plant medicine. It says bleeding heart is a call to mindfulness and preventative care. It is a teacher of being kind and compassionate to everyone around you, because we do not know what they're going through or what they can withstand, and it's not up to us to decide what they should be able to take. So on that note, Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus also rules Libra, which is the other, and Taurus is the self. So this can be compassion for self and other, but there's also a message to maybe focus on yourself and what you can change in yourself, and get a safe distance if there's anyone toxic or not healthy for you in your life. Sometimes creating a healthy space can also help cultivate compassion if you're not right in the eye of the storm with it. And then the stone is pink calcite. So this can help if you're struggling to connect to your own feelings, which if that's the case, then you're kind of numb and it makes it a challenge to understand others. And I'm not going to read you everything it says about it, but it's basically just saying if you haven't been taught to express your feelings, someone that is might be triggering to you, and to go and inquire about that. But the pink calcite is an ally, using your emotions as a bridge in doing so. And then feelings relate to the senses, which is also very Taurus. So, having compassion and allowing whatever you're feeling, and to keep it simple, to keep the judgment and the stories out of it, and just what's the feeling underneath, and can you just let yourself feel that and it move through you. Okay, so the next card is what is a helpful new moon message at this time. And it's the bee. Soul work. And it's that beautiful golden color. So, what has your soul been working on that it's ready to show up now? and this new moon can be the initiation. So as you work to let go and integrate, that's freeing up space, because look, now we've got the winged creature that cross-pollinates. Ooh, and look at this card. I never noticed this before. Do you see there's like a diamond on the back? That's really pretty. Looks like there's 10 colored in honeycombs as well. So something's coming to fruition. You know, when you think of the traditional tarot and like 10 of Cups, how wonderful that is. There's something in your soul that's wanting to take root and grow at this time, which is perfect for a Taurus new moon. Bee energy is also very much like that buzzing around energy. So the book says, sometimes while we're navigating our day-to-day life, we can lose sight of our highest purpose in this earthly realm. But this card asks you to once again check in with your soul purpose. It's not possible to be derailed from your soul path, no matter where you are. But clarity does help show up for it in a more intentional way. Sit with these questions. What are you here to teach or to learn? What stirs your heart? And it says, spend some time reflecting upon your soul mission and how you can integrate it into your life. So, you know, the compassion card is what energies to be worked with integrating at the new moon, but this card is what's the helpful message for the new moon. So it's how to integrate your soul work into your life. And maybe you're already doing that, or maybe you've had visions of it. And the bee is here to help. So the life of the bee is all centered in one mission, to nurture the colony. There are different types of bees and they each have their unique job, but it is all to serve the collective. The bee is an ally for our soul mission because once we have an idea of what we're here to do and how we want to do it, they can teach us how to create structure and productivity. Call upon bee when you're in a liminal space between knowing and action. And then the gem is the diamond. So contrary to popular belief, diamonds are not created from coal. They come from the earth's depths and are produced by the intense heat of volcanoes and cosmic collisions. Our soul work often appears to us in the same way. It's unearthed over time, born from experiences of fire. From your experiences, what message has connected them all? What diamond of wisdom has revealed itself to you? Call on Diamond as an ally of transformation in the alchemical process of making your soul's work manifest. So not only is that like sparkly, shiny diamond light, that also gives context to prior pain, or, you know, when you feel like you're going through the tumbler and nothing makes sense. And then, but that's the process of becoming a diamond. And then again, to reiterate that, to shine on, you crazy diamond, and don't hide your light, is a part of your soul work. And this card also was saying the world needs your light. So the collective needs your light, like the bee works for the greater good of the colony. And what your piece is in that needs to, boy, my hands are dry. I normally wear gloves, but it's getting warm enough to not wear gloves. What's your little piece of sweetness that you're here to bring specifically? And then the plant medicine is the aspen. And it says the aspen tree is unique because it grows in colonies where all trees share an underground root system. And each tree is part of the same organism. The aspen is an ally of remembering. They grow and repopulate themselves by sprouting clones up from a colony of roots. So even as one or more tree dies, the heart of that tree lives on in the root system, and the stand can be repopulated. In fact, one of the oldest living organisms in the world, an aspen colony in Utah, is estimated to be at least 80,000 years old. Your soul has lived many times, and in those lives, circumstances may change, but your soul has awakened and will continue to awaken to its highest calling. Imagine your soul as the aspen's underground root system, and each life as a tree. Connect to the roots, very Taurus, your soul that has lived many times. And what does it have to say? What is its mission? So that's a powerful message. I asked for a helpful card for that, and I feel like that is really helpful. And there's also this message of how community, the greater good, having compassion for others' wounds, and continuing to move forward with what your purpose is. Because have you ever noticed when you're in touch with your purpose, the petty stuff seems to fall away? And I know it's hard to focus on at this time. And yet, that's the message. So the next message, I was a little bit surprised by this card. Let me just preface this with saying I was talking to someone yesterday that said they were watching some YouTube videos, and people were saying, oh, it's such a great time to manifest. And I personally don't love the manifestation for well, I'm not going to go there, but basically I feel like life is more complex and nuanced than just manifestation techniques to get what you want. I'm not saying that it's not helpful or that there aren't laws that are true around it, but I feel like it's gotten a little bit distorted in the new age culture and a little out of balance. And anyways, that's not the point. The point is that a good friend of mine was saying how that's kind of what the message was for this time, or that there's a powerful energy to work with manifestation at this time. So the card I pulled for that, if you can't guess already, is the manifest card. Which, having said all that, I gotta say, this is a pretty cool looking card. That isn't new agey at all. And in fact, it's like the bull skull for Taurus. So between now and the full moon, which we've got like the ocean tide behind there, it's interesting. This one has the water behind it. The soul work has the mountains and the fire behind it, and the compassion is the clouds and the air behind it. But I don't know, maybe just take a moment and see what the card brings up for you before I say anything about it. It's a little bit hard to catch the light just right. This is such a pretty deck, though. Crack in the skull. Little lightning bolts around the nose. That was another thing I could have said with the Uranus is sudden unexpected. So if sudden unexpected events have been happening in the past few weeks, in the first few weeks moving forward, that's sometimes where the shock and trauma comes in. So you might be integrating some things that have been going on with that too. But as far as the manifest card, I love that it comes behind the soul work too. So it's like part of the message is you're manifesting your soul work. It's not just like, oh, I want to manifest $1 million or, you know, material things. It's actually like how to take the vision and the knowing and translate it into something that's helpful and that you can bring to others. That's your own unique self. It's interesting that the bee is surrounded by 2 skulls as well. 2 animal skulls. So this inner soul work wants to take flight, and then there's the bones of the earth surrounding it. And one being gentleness and one being more of a take charge. Okay, so this card signals a period of time where your manifestation work could be extra potent. And what you've been working on is on its way towards you. If you feel anxious or obsessive, it's time to release it and let the universe work some magic. When we're working on manifesting, it's important that we do the following. Be clear on what we want, not what we don't want. So it was also saying that that's important to your soul work too, to be clear on what it is. So you can use your imagination and visualize yourself experiencing it. So that would be tapping into the feelings we would have if we did have it. So maybe the pink calcite can help with that as well. Maybe that's why the message earlier of why it's so important to feel the feelings, not just what's present for you, but also what you'd like to cultivate or grow in your garden. And after we focused on it long enough, we must release it so it can be manifested. So like a letting go, not clinging, not trying to control the outcome. This card asks you to examine your process. Are you lacking clarity in your desires? Are you sending the universe mixed signals by focusing on what you don't want or even what you lack? Or are you too focused? Reflect on how you show up in your practice and make adjustments that need to be made. So sort of just a refocusing. So that's a bison skull. Listen to this. It's a European bison called the Wisent. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. It's considered a keystone species, which means its entire ecosystem depends on it for stability. Everything the bison does, from walking to eating to dying, has a profound impact on its environment. Wherever bison are found, the land, animals, and humans depend on it as an imperative part of life. When it comes to abundance and manifesting, the Wisent teaches us about the interconnectedness between things.